Good morning, Your Honor. This is Laura Bretaña, Spanish interpreter. The interpreter has not been sworn.
Has not been sworn?
No.
Madam Clerk, would you swear the interpreter?
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to interpret from Spanish to English, English to Spanish, the testimonies you will receive today?
Yes, I do. Laura Bretaña, Spanish interpreter.
Great, thank you. All right, let's call the first case, which is Eduardo Segundio Martinez.
Just one moment.
And counsel, the same goes for today. In the event you have a probable cause challenge as we proceed through these cases, please raise it as the defendant, as soon as I've called the defendant, so I know.
Okay, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And Kinsey Johnston with the Public Defender's Office, for the record.
All right.
There is contact, Your Honor.
Okay, great, thank you. So, Mr. Segundio Martinez, you are charged with battery, domestic violence. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there is probable cause for the charge. PTR, no contact with the alleged victim, though, right?
We did, Your Honor. They didn't indicate whether or not they wish to attend court today.
I see that now, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, you qualify for PTR. I'll go ahead and release you under PTR conditions, but you're to have no contact with the alleged victim and maintain separate residences.
Está bien.
It's fine.
Juan Reyes. Mr. Reyes, you're charged with 1 count of possession of cocaine. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $1,000. However, this is a new charge and it results in a violation of your bond in another possession of cocaine charge in 2020 CF 6445. At this time, I'm going to revoke your bond in that case. But given the nature of the charge, I will set a new bond. That bond double the amount of the original bond, or $2,000.
¿Me podrían dar un chance para...? Pues yo estoy a cargo de mi mamá y ellos se quedó del medicamento a ella. A ver si me podían dar un chance para ir a trabajar mañana, porque ahora mismo estoy teniendo problemas de como una depresión que estoy pasando ahora mismo por el divorcio y eso. Si me podía...
Your Honor, could you please give me an opportunity? I'm taking care of my mother, and I would like to go to work tomorrow. This was because of a depression I'm going through because of the divorce.
People do a lot of strange things when they're getting divorced, but I can't consider all of those options at this time. I have, by the way, appointed the Office of the Public Defender to represent you and counsel. I've appointed the Office of the Public Defender to represent everyone appearing at IAs today, just across the board if I don't say it individually. So you're going to have to post the bonds before you get out. Is the next one, I don't know, are these all Spanish interpreters?
Porque yo no tengo ninguno, ahora mismo no tengo
José
contacto
Torres
con nadie
Fernando.
porque lo único que tengo es mi mamá que está enferma
Right now, I don't have contact with anybody. The only one I have is my
Familiar
mother,
nadie.
and she is sick. I don't have anyone.
Sir, I'm sorry, but we're not going to have this discussion any further at this time. Jose Perez Dominguez. I don't have his paperwork here. Can you find him? I'm also going to need Jose Fernandez. Sir, you're charged with no valid driver's license, driving without a valid driver's license. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there is probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $500. You picked up this exact same charge in November of 2020. Bond was set at $500 then. State, are you requesting the
Yes.
bond be revoked?
We would, Your Honor.
All
We would,
right.
we would recommend a revoke and a new bond.
You picked up a new violation. It's the same violation as the old violation. I'm going to go ahead and revoke the bond on the old case, which is 2020 CT 6902. But I will give you a new bond and double the amount of the original bond, that being $1,000.
Yes, it's fine.
I need all of these guys. Jose Fernandez? Oh. Jose. Where's Jose Fernandez then? Where's Jose? No. Okay, Jose Ivan Fernandez. Mr. Fernandez, you are here based upon,
Your Honor,
I'm sorry,
oh,
apologize.
we would ask that you waive reading of the charges.
I'll waive reading of the underlying charges, counsel.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Fernandez. And also, counsel, I don't believe we typically appoint you on out-of-county warrants.
Okay.
At least we didn't used to. Maybe we are now that we're doing things in a COVID world. I don't know, but,
Okay. I thought we were being appointed on those.
okay, then you're appointed.
Okay, thank you.
Let's just keep it easy. Mr. Fernandez, you are charged pursuant to an out-of-county warrant coming out of Seminole County with failure to appear. The judge in that case did give you a bond. That bond is $2,000. I'm going to leave it at $2,000 at this time.
Okay.
Okay. We are recalling Eduardo Segundio Martinez. What did I do? He went downstairs? Okay. All right. My order PTI with no contact? Deputy, should we move on, or will he be back quickly? Okay. Javier Parilla.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Matt,
Good morning.
we are going to need the interpreter for another case, but it's going to be a minute, so we're going to take one or two in between while they bring the person back up. Do you want to hold, or do you want us to call you back?
I can hold.
Okay, I don't expect it to be long. Thank you. Okay, sir. You're charged with battery on a law enforcement officer. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find probable cause for the charge. You do not qualify for PTR. Bond is set at $2,500. Derek Kuntz. Sir, you're here pursuant to a,
Your Honor, this is not Derek
This
Koontz.
isn't Kuntz, Your Honor.
well, okay. So he'll be recalled when available. Who's this gentleman?
This is Christopher Zummo.
Okay. Christopher Zummo. Sir, you're charged with possession and consumption of alcohol in a prohibited public place. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge.
Your Honor, we would ask for ROR on this due to the nature of the charges.
Any objection by the state?
No objection by the state, Your Honor.
I will release him under ROR conditions.
Okay, cool. Good luck.
Let me know when we get Mr. Segundio Martinez back up. Brian Hassel.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Hassel has private counsel, so the appointment of the public defender is withdrawn.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jose Rivas here on behalf of Mr. Hazel. We're just here this morning, just ask for a reasonable bond, Judge, on this new law violation.
Okay. Sir, you've been charged with carrying a concealed firearm and possession of a controlled substance with a weapon. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $2,500 on count one. State, possession of a controlled substance with a weapon, third-degree felony?
Your Honor, I believe so.
All right, $150 on count two. You're ordered not to possess any weapons or firearms as a condition of your release. You're also here, you're also out on a DUI with property damage in 2020 MM 7732. The bond in that case is $5,000. State, are you requesting a revocation of the bond based on the new charge?
Yes, Your Honor, we would request a revocation and a reinstatement of new bond.
Counsel, do you care to be heard?
Yes, Judge, we would ask for a reasonable bond on that as well, too. He's a student, Judge, so we want to be able to keep him in school.
All right, I'm going to revoke the bond in the 2020 MM 7732 case. And I'm going to set the bond at $7,500.
Okay. Thank you, judges. I'll have the excuse.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, we have Eduardo Martinez back.
Sorry, say that again?
Eduardo Martinez.
Okay, thank you. Recalling Eduardo Segundio Martinez. Ma'am, I've recalled this case so you would have an opportunity to be heard. Would you state your name, please?
Yes, it's Alexandra Velasquez.
And you are the alleged victim in this case?
Yes,
All right, I don't want to hear anything about the incident that occurred. I have a couple of questions I want to ask you. Are you afraid of Mr. Martinez?
yes,
Do you want any contact with him?
no,
Do you currently share a residence?
no,
Okay. Do you currently have children in common?
no,
All right. Then my previous requirements are going to remain in place. I'm releasing you under PTR conditions. You're to have no contact with the alleged victim. Ma'am, any kind of contact, whether it's in person, telephonic, via email, via text message, is reportable and would constitute a violation of the conditions of his release. You are to maintain separate residences. And ma'am, there's currently no injunction in place, correct?
no.
Okay.
But I would like to do one. How can I make one?
Okay, I can't tell you that right now, but there are procedures. You could probably just give the clerk's office a call when they open on Tuesday to start that process.
All right,
But right now, I've ordered no contact. I'm going to also impose the condition that there be no alcohol. It appears that alcohol was an issue in this incidence. So if you drink, it will violate your conditions of release. And I'm going to include alcohol or illegal substances, all right? Anything else, ma'am?
no,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
And does that conclude the services or the need for the Spanish interpreter today? All right. Well, thanks for the interpreter. You are free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, bye-bye. David Hamby. Mr. Hamby, you're charged with aggravated battery and battery domestic in nature. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's probable cause for the charge.
Your Honor, I did have a probable cause argument on this one.
For which count?
For battery domestic violence, the only issue I saw was that although it mentions that they're dating, I believe for domestic violence cases, they need to reside together or be family members. There's no mention of them residing together. It's just that they have been dating.
State?
Your Honor, I do think the relationship would have been domestic in nature. However, I do believe that I did see in the affidavit that they did not live together. So if it is Your Honor's ruling that there is no probable cause here, the state would only request a 24-hour reset in which we could perhaps file an amended affidavit.
So are you agreeing, counsel? I'm not sure what you just said.
We're not agreeing, Your Honor. We believe this relationship was domestic in nature. We're just asking in the alternative that a 24-hour reset be ordered.
And defense, you're saying that a dating relationship for 3 years would be insufficient by itself?
Yes, I can, I had the statute pulled up on my phone. If I could just grab it really quickly.
Sure, go ahead.
I believe it needs to be a family or household member, means spouses, former spouses, persons related by blood or marriage, persons who are presently residing together as if a family or who have resided together in the past as if a family, and persons who are parents of a child in common regardless of whether they have been married. And there's no mention of any of that in the arrest affidavit, just that they're dating.
All right. Well, I do find probable cause for aggravated battery. I do find probable cause for the battery. I do not find probable cause that it was domestic in nature based upon the description of the relationship of the parties. I am going to go ahead and set bonds on the 2 counts I find probable cause on, which is $3,500 on the aggravated battery, $1,000 on the battery, with the criteria that there be no contact, direct or indirect, of any type with the alleged victim, and that the state has 48 hours to file an amended affidavit to allege that the battery was domestic in nature, should it so choose.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right? Thank you, folks. Abdullah Mamoon. Sir, you're charged with making written threats to kill or do bodily harm.
Sorry?
Is that the only, I thought there was a second. That's it? Okay.
No.
I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's probable cause for the charge. This is a domestic charge. You do not qualify for PTR. Accordingly, I'm going to set a bond. I'm setting a bond of $2,500. I'm ordering that there be no contact between you and the alleged victim. And no return, and that includes a no return to the Celebration gift shop. Timothy Mattel.
Your Honor, we would ask that you, to waive reading of the charges.
All right. I don't have, did I hand you the Mattel sheet?
Yeah.
Why am I doing that? All right. Sir, your lawyer has asked that I waive the reading of the charges. I will do that, but I do find probable cause for the charges. Bond is set at, does the state want to be heard on bond?
Your Honor, due to the nature of the charges, the state would ask for a higher bond that would be appropriate for the charge.
Bond is set at $10,000 on count one. It is set at $2,500 on count two. There's to be no contact with the alleged victim or her family. No return to the residence. I don't know if you all resided together. If you do, you may return on a one-time basis in the presence of law enforcement to gather your personal possessions. Guillermo Ortiz Pabon. He'll be reset when available. Luciana Pasquale Stanfield.
Yes.
All right. You're charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, battery, domestic violence, aggravated child abuse with a weapon. I have reviewed the charges, and I do find that there is probable cause for each of those charges. Before I impose the conditions of your release, sir, what is your name and your relationship?
My name is Dan Stanfield. I'm her husband.
All right. I don't want you to say anything about the facts of what happened that night, because anything you say can be used against her in a future proceeding.
Okay.
What I do want to know is, do you have any fear of your wife?
No, I don't.
Do you have any fear for there's children, correct?
Yeah, we have 3 children in
Do
the
you have
home.
any fear for your children from your wife?
I'm sorry. Could you please repeat that?
Are you afraid for the health, safety, and well-being of your children vis-a-vis your wife?
No, I'm not afraid for my children.
Do you want contact with your wife?
Yes, I want contact with my wife.
Do you want her to move back into the home?
Yes, I would prefer that. I think this is a one-time event.
How long have you been married?
We're coming up on 14 years in February.
I am a nurse. I never have a traffic ticket before.
Sir, I'm quite confused about the allegations, quite concerned about the allegations in the arrest affidavit, which, and again, I don't want you to comment, but specifically state the following. That one of the children went next door and advised that this defendant came after her with a belt and a knife, threw bleach on her. Bleach was found on the floor. And that your wife was chasing one of the victims around with a knife in one hand and a bleach bottle in the other, and you're not concerned for anybody in that household. Is that what you're telling?
Without going into too much detail, she did not use the knife in any way towards, she was using it as an implement to open a door,
All right.
but it was being carried in her hand, if that makes sense.
All right. State what's your position on this?
Your Honor, we would ask for no hostile contact if Your Honor was so inclined to grant in this situation.
Defense?
And Your Honor, it would be no hostile contact towards the victim and any other member of the household.
Thank you. I don't want to take the medication anymore, even though if I might not need it.
No, that's, no hostile contact is what the defense would be asking for as well.
Pretrial, I show no history of any type, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. All right, I'm going to set a bond of $7,500 on count one, $1,000 on count two, $1,000 on count three. I'm ordering that there's to be no hostile contact with your husband or with any of the children or any other residents of the home. You will get paperwork that defines what hostile contact means. I am also going to order that you not drink any alcohol or take any illegal drugs. I'm not sure if that was a trigger or not, but we'll prevent it from the future. And
Your Honor, I'm showing that there's 5 counts.
oh, there's 3 of count
There's
3.
3 of count
Because there's 3
3.
children.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, on count 3, the aggravated child abuse with a weapon, I'm going to make each of those $150 in lieu of the $1,000. So it's $7,500, $1,000, $150, $150, $150. That'll do it. Thank you, sir. Emmanuel Vinson. So you're charged with aggravated battery on a pregnant person, domestic in nature. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there is probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $2,500. There's to be no contact with the alleged victim. James Bequette, or Bequette.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're charged with 1 count of battery, domestic in nature.
Yes.
I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's probable cause for the charge. Before I set the conditions of your release, I'd like to hear from the person that's here. Ma'am, what is your name and your relationship?
My name's Chelsea Johnson. Ryan's my fiance.
Okay. Are you the alleged victim in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Again, I don't want you to tell me anything about the events of what happened. Let me just ask you, are you afraid of your fiance?
Absolutely not.
Do you want contact with him?
Absolutely.
Do you currently reside together?
We do.
If he were to become violent with you, would you have any hesitancy about calling 911?
No.
Bond is set at $1,000.
He does
Oh, he
qualify
does
for
qualify,
PTR.
okay. I just saw that. I will release you under PTR conditions in order that there's to be no hostile contact with the alleged victim. And that is all. Charles Butler. So you're charged with 1 count of battery domestic in nature. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there is probable cause for the charge. You do qualify for PTR. I'm going to release you under PTR conditions with the criteria that there be no contact with the alleged victim. Francisco de la Rosa.
I don't understand, so I don't go home? Okay, so no contact with my wife? We live together.
Your Honor, client is informing me that he and the alleged victim in this case reside together at the same house. I don't know if it's possible to ask for no hostile contact.
There was no violence?
I need the other page. Not until I get victim contact, and right now there's been no victim contact. Francisco de la Rosa?
This is Butler, Your Honor. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I've gone on to the next case.
Okay, sorry.
You're holding me up.
I'm sorry.
All right, you are charged with assault, domestic violence. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $1,000 with a no contact provision. There's to be no contact with the alleged victim in this case. Marquez Ewell, or Ewell. So you're charged with violation of a domestic injunction and contempt of court by violating an injunction for domestic violence and possession of a firearm and ammo. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. Before I address your conditions of release, let me hear from you, ma'am. Would you state your name, please, and your relationship?
My name is Michelle Yvette.
Loud, nice and loud.
My name is Michelle Yvette Hill. I'm his girlfriend of 2 years.
All right. So you are the protected person under the domestic violence injunction, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were voluntarily in this vehicle, or was it a vehicle or residence?
It was a
Yeah,
vehicle. It was a vehicle, yes, ma'am.
All right. Are you in the process of retracting the injunction order?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you afraid of Mr. Ewell?
No, ma'am.
Do you want contact with Mr. Ewell?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that the injunction order was put in place to protect you so that you would not, at your request, when
Right.
it was entered?
Yes, ma'am.
And that the proper procedure for reinstating contact is to do it through the injunction case
Yes, ma'am.
by requesting that that injunction be dissolved
Yes, ma'am. I filed it on the 15th.
of January.
Yes, ma'am.
And PTR, I show he qualifies for PTR in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right,
As well as the CT case.
okay. Then I'm going to release you under pretrial release. You are also charged with driving while license suspended. I find probable cause for that. I'm setting your release under that, under pretrial release as well. The injunction remains in place. I strongly suggest you curb your desire to see each other until that injunction is lifted. All right?
Are you ordering
ma'am.
anything regarding contact, Your Honor?
I am ordering that they comply with the injunction that's been put in place. That's supposed to be in effect until, I think, the fall of 2022.
It's 2022, Your Honor, yes.
So I'm not lifting that, or I'm not modifying any of the conditions of that injunction.
So it would stay
I
as
don't
no-
have the facts for that, so
It would stay as no contact? The injunction is a no contact injunction?
it would stay as a no-contact
Okay.
order. Let me confirm something. Counsel,
Is that,
Yes.
can I modify the injunction order today?
I
don't
do
think I
not
can.
know.
Yeah.
I do
I'm
not
not
know the
gonna do
answer
it.
to that.
So
I
there's
think-
still an injunction order in place. I'm going to order no contact and that they comply with that injunction order until you do what you need to do.
I'm sorry. I filled out the paperwork and it's in the clerk of the court. So
I
I did that
understand.
part.
So it'll still take a little while.
Okay.
All right?
I think she needs to see the judge who granted the
Yeah.
order in the first place.
There'll be a hearing set before the judge that entered the order, the injunction order.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you. Anthony Goodman.
That's a mental health, Your Honor. Mental health.
Thank you. I probably could understand you if you were close to a mic, but across the room I can't. So we'll reset him when available. Artriana Simmons. Ma'am, you're charged with 1 count of battery, domestic in nature. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. You qualify for PTR. I'm going to release you under PTR conditions with the requirement that you are pretrial. I have a note saying you contacted the boyfriend. They don't have the same address, but you didn't indicate whether the boyfriend wants contact.
We don't ask them about contact, Your Honor.
Ah,
We just
okay.
inform them of the court hearing.
No hostile contact with the alleged victim. Nope, I'm going to leave it no contact. Make it no contact with the victim in this case until we get confirmation that he wants contact. Demetrius Walls. Demetrius Walls? Mr. Walls, you're charged with battery, 1 count of battery, dating violence. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $1,000. You're to have no contact with the alleged victim. Aaron Branch. Thank you. Michael Forrest. Reset when he's available. Brent Gaines. Sir, you're charged with a moving traffic violation, driving while license suspended or revoked. Hold on. All right, driving while license revoked as a habitual traffic offender. And a moving traffic violation. Driving while license suspended, third conviction. I find probable cause for the charges. Bond is set at $2,500 on count 1 and $150 on count 2. I'm going to take no action in connection with the 2020 CF 9777 case at this time. Jordan Gideon. Sir, you're here under charges of driving while license revoked as a habitual offender, possession of cocaine, possession of cannabis in an amount less than 20 grams, possession of drug paraphernalia. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge.
Your Honor, I believe he qualifies for pretrial release.
He does.
We would be asking for that.
Any objection?
Your Honor, the state wouldn't have an objection.
All right. I'm going to order your release under pretrial release.
Any conditions with that, Your Honor?
Sure. How about we'll try, don't drive without a driver's license. Don't possess or use any illegal drugs. And I'm going to impose random urinalysis through PTR. Thank you, ma'am. Jonathan Grajales.
All right, thank you.
So you're charged with possession of methamphetamine and possession of drug paraphernalia. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charges. Bond is set at $1,000 on count 1 and $100 on count 2. You picked up a new charge which violates the conditions of your bond in 2020 CF 1474. Accordingly, I'm revoking your bond in that case, and I will set a new bond and double the amount of the original, that now being $5,000. Quanisha Herring. Ma'am, you're charged with introduction of contraband into a county detention facility, specifically a controlled substance, and possession of cannabis in an amount more than 20 grams. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there is probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $1,000 on count 1 and $1,000 on count 2. Steve Hidalgo-Sosa. Thanks. I couldn't say his name anyway. Leslie LeBron. All right. Ma'am, you're charged with battery on a uniformed, actually, in this case, I believe it was a licensed security officer, and possession of Xanax. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charges. Bond is set at $2,500 on count 1, $150 on count 2. You're to have no contact with the specific security guard in this case. Shavato Mason. Reset. David Moreno.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're charged with possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of fentanyl. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for each of the charges. You do not qualify for PTR.
Ma'am, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes,
All right. You want me to start over?
yes.
You are charged with the following: possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of fentanyl. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there is probable cause for each of those charges. Bond is set at $1,000 on count 1, $100 on count 2, $150 on count 3. I'm including, I can set bond with PTR, correct?
He didn't qualify for PTR, Your
At
Honor.
all, okay. We'll just leave it at that. Thank you. Dimitri Prosper. Thank you. Aaron Ramsaran.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're charged with fleeing and attempting to elude a police officer. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's probable cause for these charges. He's got no history, is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor, and he does qualify for PTR.
Any objection to PTR?
No objection, Your Honor.
Because of the fact that you have no history whatsoever, I will release you under PTR conditions. And that is all.
Any other conditions with that PTR, Your Honor?
I have a question that I need clarification on from the state. In the charging affidavit, it indicates the defendant was also issued 6 citations for violating Florida Statute 316, but it doesn't say what that is.
It doesn't, Your Honor. That's simply the traffic statute. I would assume that the reporter didn't list the specific statutes that were violated. And Your Honor, I cannot advise of the citations because I don't have them in front of me.
I am going to amend my prior ruling. I understand you qualify for PTR, but I am troubled by the nature of the charge in this case, in which it appears you put your vehicle in drive and accelerated toward the officer, refusing to stop, necessitating the officer stepping out of the way to avoid being struck as you drove off, ignoring all lawful orders to stop. I'm going to set a monetary bond with PTR, monetary bond of $5,000 with PTR. I'm also going to order that any street racing will be deemed a violation of your conditions of release. Joseph Torres.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. All right, you're here for a couple reasons today. Driving while license revoked as a habitual offender is one of them. I've reviewed the charging affidavit and
Ma'am, I was never driving the vehicle. The vehicle was parked and I was sleeping inside.
you might want to exercise your right to remain silent. I've appointed counsel to represent you, and I'm going to remind you that anything you say can and will be used against you in a future proceeding. So please be mindful of that. Counsel, you're not making a PC argument to this, are you? If you are, I would deny it, so let's just,
Okay,
let's
I
just
wasn't
jump
going
ahead.
to.
Okay. Just making sure
Wondered
I
if
didn't
I
miss
missed
anything.
something.
Nope. So I do find probable cause for this charge. Bond in this case is set at $5,000. You're also charged with failure to attach a tag or license plate to an unassigned motor vehicle and no motor vehicle registration. Bond is set at $500 on count one and $100 on count two. I am taking no action on the open case 2020 CF 14697.
And it also looks like he has a petty theft case, Your Honor, a new law offense. 2021 MM 393 AO.
Did I miss it? A new law offense. Okay, let me find it. Oh, there it is. I see it. Petty theft. Okay. Petty theft. You're also charged with petty theft. I find probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $500. Now we're going to take action with regard to the open warrant because the charge is the same. So you have an open, you're currently on bond in 2020 CF 14697, burglary of an unoccupied dwelling and petty theft. By picking up the new charges, your bonds are automatically violated. I'm revoking your bonds in that case, but I will give you a new bond and double the amount of the original bond. Specifically, the $2,600 is now $5,200.
So would it be 5,000 on count one, 200 on count two?
Yes.
That's how there would be double.
What was it?
5 and 2. Glenroy Weeks.
Man, I wasn't driving, I was sleeping in a car.
Glenroy Weeks.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, sir, you're charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, open carrying of weapons and firearms, and possession of cannabis in an amount greater than 20 grams with a weapon. I find probable cause for the charges. Bond is set at $2,500 on count one, $150 on count two. Anybody know the bond, standard bond amount for 3, possession of cannabis in an amount greater than 20 with a weapon?
Your Honor, I believe those are ROR a lot of the time. I don't know what the standard is.
What
Maybe
level of,
100.
what level is it?
Yeah, Your Honor, I'm not aware.
All right,
It's a second-degree felony, Your Honor.
second-degree felony?
Yes,
I thought it was less than 20 grams.
it's over.
With a,
Oh,
over
okay.
20
With a
with a
weapon.
weapon.
Okay, I misheard, sorry.
All right, well, I'm going to set bond on count 3 at $7,500. You are ordered not to possess any weapons or firearms. You are ordered to turn in any weapons or firearms in your possession within 48 hours. And I'm including, can I include PTR, or does he not qualify at all?
He didn't qualify. He
Okay.
has outstanding warrants. in
All right,
other
good
states.
enough. That will do it. Joshua Caraballo.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you're charged with driving under the influence and driving with no valid driver's license.
Ma'am,
I don't want, I've appointed counsel to represent you. Don't tell me anything about the charges. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. There's something you want to tell me, talk to your lawyer first. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charges. Bond is set at $500 on count one. Bond is set at $100 on count two. You also have 4 open matters. I'm only going to revoke your bond on 2 of them. 2020 CT 8079 is a DUI case. You picked up a new law offense, another DUI. So I'm revoking your bond in that case. Bond was $1,000. I will give you a new bond, so your new bond will be double the amount of the original. That is $2,000. I'm taking no action on the failure to register a motor vehicle. I'm revoking your bond amount in the no valid driver's license case found at 2020 CT 8080. Your bond was $500. It's now $1,000, and I'm taking no action in 2020 CF 15277, which is the possession of a controlled substance without a prescription. Sorry? I said it at 5 and 1, 500 and 100. Tanda Beck. How do you say your last name?
Shivik.
Okay. You are charged with DUI with property damage and refusal to submit to a DUI test. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charges. Bond is set at $1,000 on count 1 and $100 on count 2. That's all.
Thank you.
Bradley Griffiths. Bradley Griffiths? No.
Do you have a booking number for him?
Oh, I have it, Your Honor. The booking number, does someone need that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's 2100.
21001382.
Right.
They bonded.
They bonded, okay. I don't know what happened to her. So Griffiths. So that one bonded, right? How about Jarvis Thompson? Okay. You are charged with driving under the influence. Of alcohol or drugs, and a moving traffic violation, driving while license suspended or revoked or equivalent status. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's probable cause for the charge. Bond is set on count 1 at $500 and at count 2 at $100.
And Your Honor, that first appearance detainer was entered in error. He was never arrested on that case. So the 2020 CT 2920 should not have been entered.
All right, so that's, okay.
That was closed out entry error.
Thank you. That's it? Dave Alfred.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're charged with trespass on property after warning. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $500. I'm also ordering that you are not to return to the Food Lotto, which is the subject of this instance. And I'm going to take no action on all of these other cases at this time.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I'm done? Okay, thank you.
Marcus Bargnare. Barganaire. All right. So you're charged with criminal mischief in an amount greater than $200 but less than $1,000. I review the charging affidavit. I find probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $500. Matthew Chisholm.
Your Honor, I have a PC challenge on this one.
All right, well, let me tell him what he's charged with. You're charged with public order crimes, misuse of 911 or the E911 system. What is your challenge, counsel?
Okay, so the charge is misuse of 911. The allegations in the affidavit are that someone was calling 911 because they were injured. At no point, and then they came to the scene and found a pedestrian that was saying he had been struck by a car. I don't understand how, I don't see how that is a misuse of 911 if someone was calling to say they were injured and then they said they were injured when police came to the scene. The only thing, it said they had been calling in, but, just tell me.
Would the state care to respond?
Your Honor, based on this, admittedly, this report is a little bit light on details. If Your Honor was so inclined to grant defense's motion, we would ask for a reset to get a probable cause affidavit.
Well, as I read it, it's your client that was making the calls because the phone rang to the phone in his hand when they tested it. And he called indicating he was at mile marker 252, then 253, then 250 to 254. Then when he was found by Orange County Fire Rescue, he was told he'd been struck by a car. Then he refused medical and wanted a trooper. Then a trooper showed up and he ran away, or started running away. So I'm not sure what's going on, but I think it's enough to get by a PC challenge. So I do find that there is PC for the charge. And I'll set a bond of $500, and I'll take no action on the drug count. Gamage, Lakasha Gamage? Okay. You're charged with one count of petty theft. I find probable cause for the charge. Any objection to ROR on this case?
Your Honor, there's no objection.
I'll release her on ROR. ROR. Trayshawn Jones.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jones, you're charged with resisting an officer without violence. For failure to follow a lawful order by a law enforcement officer. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there is probable cause for the charge. Bond is set at $500, and I'll take no action on the open failure to appear case. Sorry? All right. David Stagger, okay.
Your Honor, we would ask if we could go back to Mr. Trayshawn Jones. We would be asking for ROR on this case. Mr. Jones cannot afford the $500 bond.
I can,
And
but I'm just saying that.
Talk to your lawyer.
Okay.
Counsel, mute his mic.
Pardon?
You need to mute his mic when he's talking to you.
Right.
Meanwhile, State, is there an objection to ROR in that case?
Give me one moment, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if he were to be released, he has a place where he lives. He will maintain contact with the public defender's office.
The hesitancy that the state has here is because there does seem to be a victim.
Your Honor, the resisting an officer.
Hold
Well-
on. The resisting an officer without violence?
I'm sorry, let me rephrase. The incident that the charge resulted from, there was a conflict that resulted in the resisting charge. That's the one hesitancy the state would have here for ROR.
I'm going to grant your request and modify my ruling and make this ROR.
Thank you.
John Parsons. John Parsons?
Kevin Coley.
Do you have a booking number for Carson's, Your Honor?
Do I have who?
A booking number for them? I can see if they
I
bonded.
do. 21001373.
They bonded out.
Okay. So no, don't need this. Don't need this. How about, David Stager is, he refused, so he's going to be reset. Are we up to Kevin Coley? All right. Sir, you're here pursuant to 2 out-of-county warrants issued out of Brevard County. For failure to appear. The issuing judge, however, did set a bond. Are there 4 out-of-county warrants? Or do I have 2 copies of 2 out-of-county warrants? All right. Did issue a bond, count 1 of $2,000, count 2 of $1,000. I'm going to leave the bonds as set by the Brevard County judge. Thank you, sir. Joshua Grady. Mr. Grady, you're here pursuant to a bond issued out of Volusia County for failure to appear that set your bond at a total of $250 for the two failures to appear. So we'll leave it there. Dwight Clark. So you're charged with failure to appear.
Yes.
I've appointed an attorney to represent you. She's standing right next to you. If there's anything you want to say it to her. You're here pursuant to an arrest warrant. I'm simply advising you of the charges and letting you know what that warrant set your arrest bond at. And the charges are felony battery, great bodily harm, permanent disability or permanent disfigurement, and domestic battery by strangulation. Probable cause was found by the issuing judge, and I'm going to set your bond as follows. Oh, gotcha. Oh, so it's two failures to appear. So your bonds are set at 0 on each of those failures to appear. Thank you. Jeremy Beckham? Or Jeremy Harden Beckham? Okay. Sir, you are here based upon a couple of warrants. Failure to appear. At a plea and sentence in a no motor vehicle registration, and your bond was set at $2,000 in that case. And failure to appear for a status hearing in a possession of drug paraphernalia case, and your bond was set at $500 in that case.
Your Honor, Hempfield is refused.
All right.
Coons is mental health.
All right, we'll have them reset when available.
Martinez is also mental health.
Reset when available.
Morales is mental health.
Reset when available.
McCauley is also mental health.
Must be having a party down there. Reset when available.
We have Mr. Bell.
How about Jeremiah Henry?
Inmate number?
I think he's both names.
Give me one. No, they booked me in on this name. Why?
That's an alias of Mr. Bell's, Your Honor.
Oh, Vernon Bell.
Yes.
Thank you. I didn't see that. Vernon Bell. Mr. Bell. Couldn't come today. All right, so Jeremiah Henry, or Vernon Bell, you're charged with violation of your probation. The underlying charge is willful fleeing and eluding a law enforcement officer. Your bond was set at 0 for the VOP.
Galvin is also mental health.
Calvin?
Galvin.
Okay. So the next one is,
Gorman.
okay. Grady Gorman. Calvin will be reset when available. Grady Gorman, you are charged with disorderly conduct and state misdemeanors. I find probable cause for the charge. He's got no history at all, right?
It looks like just one out of state, driving while impaired.
And this is disorderly conduct and state misdemeanors. All right, I do find probable cause for the charges. Bond is set at $250 on count 1 and $100 on count 2. Lamar Washington. Is 21001368.
Looks like they bonded.
I show we're done. Yes? All right.
That was quick.
You are welcome.
Your Honor.